Hello everyone, welcome to another race analysis video with Mo Allen. In this ride, I am racing the WTRL 2024-25 season round 3 race 3 in the Open Americas Eastern B2 division. This is a scratch race, so just points for position across the finish line. It's my first ever specific scratch race. This is my first time ever competing in the WTRL or Zwift Racing League. So this is the third race. The first one was a team time trial race. The second one was a points race, and now this is a scratch race. And the next one will be another team time trial, I believe. This ride is on the Road to Ruins reverse route in Watopia. It is one lap, 29.8 kilometers or 18.15 miles, 18.5 miles, 275 meters of elevation. I have 4 team members from the watts per kilogram racing team racing in this ride. 3 of us are in the B category, 1 is C. We all had separate goals for the race, mine being to survive past a certain climb, others being to make it to and through certain other climbs. So we were discussing on Discord during the race, which was helpful. My coach is riding as well, so he was giving us instructions the whole way through. So here we are at the start. I know that things could potentially get pretty nasty, so I'm certainly not trying to burn too many matches up front, trying to sit in sort of front half to quarter of the group at certain times, especially on any little inclines. You'll see me try to get closer to the front of the group just so I don't have to push from the back as I inevitably get dropped with my 95 kilogram weight and relative low power to the rest of the class of riders, the ability of riders that seem to participate in these WTRL races. So realistically, we're just trying to finish as strong as we can. My charge was to try to just give it my all on the first climb toward the epic and see how things went from there. This was a good experience, tough race for sure. Any of these inclines, I felt relatively good coming into this race. The night before, I had done some strength and a yoga session, so I took the day off from cycling or running, and I felt pretty fresh this day that I raced. This was raced on a Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. My nutrition was 2 scoops of infinite premium fructose fuel blend, powdered blend, in 20 ounces of cold water. And then for the ride, I took that during the warm-up, and then I had 1 bottle of water for the ride. I usually try to drink every couple of minutes. I used to be really strict. I would drink every 2 minutes on the dot. I still kind of use that as a target. Often once the race gets going, I'll just, I'll be focused on other things and kind of forget. But But I always, when I take a drink, I instinctively now always look at the time to sort of know how long it's been, if I remember, since the last time I took a drink, or remember when to take a drink again. I sweat a lot, so hydration is key. So a little test coming up here as we approach the S-turns going up towards the Italian villas. So the only power up on this ride was the steamroller, used to flatten out rough terrain, so to be used on dirt and gravel. So I mentioned that because the recon I did for this was to watch someone else ride this ride, and I noticed a lot of people, as you see them do here now, were hitting the power up on this incline here. I believe I saved the power up because I felt relatively in control here. I wasn't actually sure. I didn't remember what the next opportunity to maximize that power up would be, but I figured if I saved it all the way until I got to the jungle where I would need it more, then that would probably be advisable. I did not remember where the next opportunity, if there was one, for a power up was. So you can see I made it up there with the front group. Pretty high watts, but small effort to make it up. So I'm aware that people will often continue pushing over this little incline as well. So just trying to keep my position here. The coach was telling us the same, giving us advice on where to position ourselves, which was super useful. So here's the next test coming up here, the first real test, which is trying to stay as close as I can to this front group up this next climb. So this next climb is short, sort of climbing up towards the epic before we turn off, but it's a nasty one for me. You can see people already winding up at the front here, so So currently we're 13 minutes in. I'm averaging 276 watts, currently sitting at 166, 167 beats. So not a terrible 13 minutes to start, but this climb here is a brutal one. I am very familiar with trying to keep with a group up this climb. I have a lot of experience getting dropped up this climb. So here the coach was telling us, just give it your all. So here we are. This is about what I could have obviously like pushed harder to stay closer up front, but I think it just would have drained me too much. I didn't realize at the time, but I had assumed that my coach was up in front of me, which he might be at this point, but I think he was having an off day as well, and actually wasn't up ahead. So anyway, here we can see 40, 50 riders back here in the group slowly pulling away, and I'm putting in 450 to 500 watts now lower, as I realize that I'm not going to I didn't decide. And so there I actually popped that power up. I'm not exactly sure if that does anything on paved roads, and in the worst case, if it actually does something negative. I assume it doesn't do anything negative, but I have no idea what it does. But I figured I would use it. Probably like completely incorrect assessment there. So here we are back in 46th place, and just now trying to identify any small groups from what's split, look at the rider power around me and see if I can figure out what group I'm going to be in once this climb is over. I had hoped that I could make it up with the front group, or at least more towards the front. And again, I wonder what would have been if I had tried to give it 600 watts for, several more seconds in bursts, or sustained. If I could have, I could have, but what would it have done, right? I would have been closer to the front, but we still have a little ways to go here. So I feel like I made the right choice in when to sort of back off and try to find a group, but I'm always curious what could have been. I was feeling it at this point. That was a short effort, right? But I knew the jungle was coming, and so I just made the decision to sort of back off here. And actually, there's my coach right next to me there. So I was surprised actually to see him there. I was happy that he was there for some support. He was, giving me encouragement not to lose wheels and who to try to follow. But I was definitely feeling it at this point. So now I'm just trying to latch back onto this group here. I know that a downhill is coming as we make our way towards the jungle. But I'm just trying to hang on here. So the coach is a little further up, a second up now, and encouraging me to close the gap. But I'm really feeling it at this point. Only 17 minutes in, 17 and a half. So I end up making it back to that group by the time the downhill comes, or on the downhill. But from there, it's just, you can see me struggling to just put in little bursts of power. I'm not really able to sustain much, and I'm all over the place in terms of my body position. So just trying to latch back on here. And so I'm just looking forward to getting back with the group, which at this point it looked like I was going to, and just try to recover as much as I could for what's coming for the jungle climbs. So here we are now on the jungle, on the dirt without a power up. Having used it almost certainly incorrectly on that paved climb out of the Epic. But so now as people wind up, I'm just trying to mark the wheels of my coach here, but I'm quite spent here. So it was a struggle. One thing to say is that I believe at this point, I was in the hardest gear I could be in. Like this was it. This is what I had to give. If I shifted down at this point the way I was feeling, given my history with how that goes, right? Being in a harder gear, being fatigued, having to hang on, trying to find some extra power, trying to get some recovery in where you can by spinning out a higher gear. If I were to shift down now, I would never have made it back into that with any power into that harder gear. Here I took off again, ill-advised, just a little bit on the downhill, hoping my weight would carry me a little bit down. Coach was saying, not to do that, and I knew, but I just really needed a little bit of a break. But yeah, this was rough in the jungle here. So currently at 49th place out of 76. Group behind at 24 seconds. So still, in contact with the coach and the group above ahead, but it was perilous the whole way through, just trying to keep contact, these little surges to try to just latch on. And again, being in my very hardest gear was just a big mental as well as physical drain. But here I go, making contact with the group again. I'm not even sure I switched to an easier gear at this point. I don't remember. I probably did. I hope I did. But now we are, I'm trying to just get some recovery in and make it until the next little effort, which is the climb out of the jungle, I believe. So here we are, next climb, people popping their power-ups. I did get a power-up there. I don't remember real time if I even realized I had that power-up, I'm going to be honest. I don't know when. Oh, there I go. I used it right there. But you can see people pulling away here. This, I just was not able to follow that acceleration, even after having had some recovery opportunities. So here I'm just trying to manage what I can and keep contact with as many riders as I can, and see who I might be able to hang on to, and just sit in for this lengthy, relatively low gradient but longish climb out of the jungle. So here is where I lose contact with the coach. So he went by me here and encouraged me to stay with him, but I just could not do it. So I had to let go here and watch him go up the road and wish him well. We had another teammate actually up in the, I believe in the front group, which was awesome to see. So currently there's one teammate behind me and now two teammates in front of me out of us four. So again, realizing that you're getting points for placement here, I'm definitely not giving up, but I know that still got 10 kilometers to go, still got some climbing to go. At this point, about 90 meters of climbing left. And I just knew that I had to manage my expectations with how much I pushed myself on these climbs and what I could give to the end, just to try to average out what the best place I could be in for the finish was. So here I'm still trying to stay on the pedals, on the power. Again, I believe I am in my hardest gear here, so this is just what I could give. I turned the graph off, as I've mentioned in previous videos. I will often do that to not have the visual indicator of really a failure, in case I'm pushing, zone 4, and then all of a sudden, I mean, it is what it is, right? Reality is what it is, but that visual indicator of losing power over time can be a bit of a mental downer. So sometimes I'll turn that off. So here I'm just grinding out. I'm really trying to find what I can, again, knowing that if I go to an easier gear, that it's going to be just difficult to find power, and I won't be back in this gear again, which I really shouldn't be in this gear probably, but this is where I am 32 and a half minutes in, and at my current fitness and in this type of race. This is it's a different level of racing, even in this division that I'm in. This is a very, very good experience to be in these kinds of races. I hope to be able to complete all of the races in round 3. It's kind of right in the middle of family time, but I've been able to get it done, so we'll see if I can continue to do that. I honestly don't remember how many races total there are, but I will do as many as I can, gain the experience. It's definitely good for the body to go through this sort of thing and have this experience. So here we are, the little bit of flat here before we go up again just a little bit with a few riders here, a couple riders. And so I think at this point I noticed that there are 2 riders behind. I go turn the graph back on. And I actually had it in my mind to try to work to keep those riders away. So they're at 12 seconds now, the ones behind us. I think those are the ones that, I think eventually they get up to like 19. I remember them being 16 seconds and then 19 seconds and then closer and then further. I think those are the 2 riders that I was contemplating trying to work with this group to keep away. At this point, though, I'm in no position to push at the front, so it is going to be what it is at this point. But I think later, a little later, a couple kilometers down the road, I start to get it in mind, knowing that, you know, finishing position matters. If I can stay ahead of them, then that would be good. Otherwise, if they join us, then I would just sit at the back of the group and hope I could do something in the sprint to get past them, knowing that they are likely chasing to get back into the group and exerting themselves more than we are in this group. Not sure how true that actually was, but that's what was the thinking for that latter option. So there we go, climb out of the jungle done. It happened, just so happened that it wasn't those two riders behind that I was referencing, but the two riders behind them. So those two riders did catch up with us, and now we're a group of 5. And it's the two riders behind, currently at 14 seconds, that I was considering keeping away. So here, definitely just trying to recover as much as I can on this downhill. There I go off the pedals. I'll do that multiple times just to gain some rest. I probably pushed these little surges. I probably pushed more than I should have. I probably either should have just spun easy and or not pedaled at all to just coast downhill. I'm assuming these little surges that I just did and will do on the rest of this downhill might not have been the best, but I think they're probably fine all in all. So here we go, approaching the end here, knowing that my two teammates are in the group ahead. The group ahead happened to be the front group. The group ahead was less than a couple of minutes ahead, but large group, 40 or so riders, if not more. So I felt, even though I was hurting at this point and not able to do what I thought, well, I shouldn't say not able to do, but having been so spent relatively early, at this point I was, kind of happy to be less than 2 minutes from the front group, even though it's a large front group and I'm, 47th position currently. So here I'm just looking forward to, I am not feeling strong at all here. My coach was watching this and telling me to stay with the rider, but I just, the rider ahead that's going now, I just was not able to stay with them. I don't remember what gear I was in here, but I just was not able to get much power at all. So here we go, pushing to the end. You see the rider behind will actually come past me, and they end up going ahead of the rider ahead of me. You'll see me kind of give up in a second here and then realize, okay, let me get back on, and I go past that rider. So at least I came in one position further. So there we go, 47th position, 3 watts a kilogram average for the 48 minutes and 27 seconds. Zwift power results here. Tough ride here, good ride. Again, WTRL has been quite the experience through these first 3 races. The team time trial, the next team time trial will be really interesting. We learned a lot on that first one. So we'll have some more knowledge, different strategies. I'll be wiser for the next team time trial. So I was really feeling it at the end here. I was almost like it was a moment there of keeping stuff down. Didn't really get that close, but it was closer than I've been in a while. This was this was a tough one. So yeah, that's it. I appreciate you all watching. Leave some comments, let me know what you think. Like the video, subscribe if you're inclined. I appreciate it. I hope you stay healthy, stay fit, and I will talk to you all later.